What's up, my chronic little gooners, my little goon goblins, goblins who goon every day, every week, every month. You gotta gooning until the sun comes up, gooning until no end. Always gotta gooning as always, gooning around the clock, never stop gooning, little gooners. Does that type of English intrigue you? Yeah, I bet it does. I bet you like being degraded like that, don't you, you little freak? Anyways, today we'll be talking about the newest game to come out of one of my favorite ironic franchises, Garten of Banban. I wouldn't be surprised if many of you didn't know that this game was even released, because I didn't either. I was actually scrolling on itch.io looking for some horror games to play for the next Extra Black video. Go subscribe, by the way. And I happened to stumble across it, and after playing it, I knew I couldn't contain myself. I needed to talk about this game. I need to talk about Garten of Banban 0. So, where do we start? How about we start with the name, Garten of Banban 0. Excuse me? Are you joking? I haven't even launched the game yet and I'm already upset. What the f do you mean 0? You release games 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 5 I guess, fuck it, right? 6, 7, and now 0? Are the Euphoric brothers on crack cocaine? This is just as bad as the GTA game naming process. So this game takes place before Garten of Banban 1, so maybe they felt the need to make the number smaller than the first to show a clear timeline. I guess that makes sense, but you could have done something like Garten of Banban Origins. You could have actually done Garten of Banban 8 in theory, disregarding that 8 has already been announced. Games with stories release in order with their stories out of order all the time. I personally don't see a reason why it couldn't be the same for Garten of Banban. In fact, this might actually confuse new fans who haven't been following and keeping up with the games. But I digress. I've already written a page of the script and I haven't even begun talking about the actual game. So let's do that now. The game opens with us in a small room that looks somewhat like a bedroom or living quarters. We explore for about 2 seconds because that's all the time it takes to explore the room, and we're greeted to a screen telling us that we need to complete a quiz. The quiz asks us yes or no questions like, do you know where you are? Do you know who you are? And of course, we're brain dead, so we have absolutely no idea what's going on. After completing the quiz, we're given a blue keycard. But before I can figure out what it's used for, we hear someone at our door, and they tell us to step away from it.
Stay at the back of the room, away from the door. And of course, hands where I can see them.
When we do, the door opens to reveal Banban. Oh my god, look how tiny he is! But god damn does he have those Popeye the Tumor Man arms, holy shit! Something to note at this point is that he doesn't refer to himself as Banban, instead calling himself 6. There's actually only one character throughout this entire game that doesn't go by the name of a number, but we'll get to them later. Banban gives us a keyring for all of our keycards, and we follow him out into the main area where the other cases are. You'll notice above each character's head that they have a number. This case number is also the name that they go by as a name. Beneath their case number, you'll also see a status, where you can tell what the character feels about you. When you meet Banban, it's already stated that he is your friend. Inside this main area, which I'm just going to call the hub, above us we see a bunch of eyeballs. This is never explained, which is a little unfortunate because I thought it was really cool when I first saw them. You'll also notice that the hub is split into 4 sections: the desert, the snowy area, the beach, and then some grassland. That's not very important, just something interesting to note. Anyways, Banban takes us over to Banbalina, who we see is only our peer. It's here we learn our goal is to become friends with every case in the hub. In order to become Banbalina's friend, we have to become smart because currently we have the intelligence of a toenail, and we have to get her a bow. The second part about the bow isn't stated, so I just have to figure that bullshit out. But how do we become smart? Well, inside one of the igloos, there's a Givanium blob. In case you're not brain rotted and don't know what Givanium is a made-up element that is a large plot point of the series. It seems the scientist character Syringian from Garten of Banban 7 is using Givanium to genetically modify a bunch of shit, and that's what's creating most of the monsters we see throughout the games. Knowing indie horror games, and given that this game technically takes place in a kindergarten, if you can even remember that plot point, I'm willing to guess they're testing on kids because, you know, indie game stuff, kids, death, love it. This Givanium blob who doesn't have a name, literally, even its case number is all kinds of but this blob is trying to solve the puzzle that's laid out on the wall. Next to the screen, there are 2 locked chests that will unlock as the puzzles get solved. Blobby says if we help it solve the puzzles, we can have the contents of one of the chests. This puzzle is easy. Basically, all you have to do is look at the path on the screen. You'll see several anchor points marked by circles on the line. Beneath the screen, there are various sizes of balls. You have to place the balls onto the screen in the correct order so that they will be sized from smallest to largest. But since the path isn't just a straight line, you'll have to imagine where the balls will glide to predict what order you should place the balls in. And speaking of placing down balls, I placed mine down on your mother's forehead. After solving the first puzzle, the blob says, "Fuck that shit, I don't want to do it. You can take both prizes if you solve all the puzzles." The puzzle has a few levels to it, and once you're done, we can see what's in each chest. The first chest has a highly graded test sheet, and the other has a keycard and a keychain. Side note, something really fun about this game is the keychains. You can find them randomly hidden around the game, and if you go back to your room, you can equip them to your keyring. Just something fun that I'm going to be bringing up positively, because I'm gonna get pretty negative at some points in this video. You just wait, I'm sure you could have guessed. Solving all the puzzles actually causes the blob inside to be friends with us, adding another friend to the friend list. Most of the characters you'll befriend in this game are actually blobs anyways, so walking outside we can see another blob stuck in a tube? Something weird about the hub is all of the craters and tubes in the walls. I'm not really sure what the point of them is, but the blobby man is stuck really high up in one. We tell him that we'll catch him, but Banban comes over and says he'll do it instead. The blob jumps from the tube and lands directly onto a fucking cactus, presumably dying, but sadly no, it survives, and it's now our friend. Also, when this blob falls onto the cactus, Banban unironically says this.
-1 million.
Are you fucking kidding me? As if this game wasn't already leaning into the silliness. When I first heard this, I had to contain myself not to lose my fucking mind. I could write a whole paragraph. No, I could write a whole video. No, I could write a whole fucking novel about how stupid this is. This is just the right amount of retarded to make me laugh, but also just the right amount to make me hate myself for doing so. I am 20 years old. I should not be laughing at aura, and the fact that I am makes me want to slap my Coke can wiener into a waffle iron, cook it, put a little syrup on it, and gobble it up like it's IHOP. The next blob bussy we need to help speaks Spanish for some reason.
Yo también necesito tu ayuda. Ven conmigo y haré que valga la pena.
And something I want to quickly mention, it is incredibly hard to read subtitles in English while someone is speaking Spanish in your ear. Maybe that's just a skill issue, but I struggled greatly trying to read this shit. We find this blobber in another crater. He says he needs some help with something and that we should follow him. A small sign on the wall tells us to use a ladder to access the tube. And if you thought we'd have to find a ladder and bring it over to this location, you'd be smart. But unfortunately for you, smart ideas sound crazy in a world full of morons. What you actually have to do is climb a ladder all the way across the fucking hub and do some parkour in order to make it over to the crater. Walking inside the tube, we see a little mushroom man sprint into the darkness. Very ominous, but we immediately ignore this and continue to move on because, like normal horror game characters, we refuse to use any context clues to our advantage. Anyways, we find the Spanish blobby in another room. He says he's been given a task to solve a puzzle and that he'd receive a prize if he solved it. The goal of the puzzle, which, by the way, isn't a fucking puzzle, is to stop these red circles on the leftmost circle, with each red circle moving faster than the previous. Spanish man says he doesn't have hands to push the buttons, so he decided he wasn't even going to try, which, like, fair enough, I wouldn't try either if I was him. After completing the puzzle on the first try because I'm literally a fucking god among men, a door next to the puzzle opens, revealing a guitar. Spanish man is understandably pissed, acknowledging that even if he did manage to complete the puzzle, he wouldn't have even been able to use the prize because, once again, no hands on this one. Spanusi says we can take the 4 random tires that are for some reason in his room. I really don't know. It's like the brothers noticed they needed tires for another puzzle and forgot they didn't put them anywhere, so they quickly added this. Amazing. We take the tires and find 2 other blobs, one on the beach and one in the desert. Beach Blob says that Desert Blob has been eyeing up his treasure, and Desert Blob says he wants to steal the fuck out of that treasure, but his boat can't sail on the water because the water isn't real. Instead of walking over and stealing the treasure, we need to put the 4 tires we stole on the boat so the Desert Blob can drive the boat over to Beach Blob. Once there, an epic fight sequence commences, and Desert Blob commits homicide and absolutely ravages Beach Blob's butthole. Or blob hole? I don't really know what you'd call it. Feeling immense guilt, Desert Blob says we can take what's in the treasure chest, and we finally get to see what he murdered another blob in cold blood over. It's a bow. A bow. Homicide for a bow. Sick.
Greed will be the end of all of us.
Anywho, we take that bow over to Banbalina and she finally becomes our friend, and with that, we've befriended every character in the hub that isn't fucking dead. Banban gets all jealous that we became friends with Banbalina so quickly, and then gets roasted so hard you'd think a full-course meal was about to be served.
Everyone that passes my tests with an A+ and gives me great gifts is a friend of mine.
But I gave you flowers that one time.
Those were mushrooms. Plastic mushrooms.
It's the thought that counts.
Banban tries his best to distract himself from the immense pain he feels and suggests that everyone plays some hide and seek, with us being the seeker because we're the newest. Everyone hides, and we find them all in about 10 seconds because their idea of hiding is fucking standing out in the open. Seriously, this dude is standing on top of the fucking igloo. It's the first thing you see when you turn around. F***ass, dumbass, bitch, blobby bitch. After showing all the normies up, a blob is given the role of seeker, and Banban says he's going to show us an awesome hiding spot. But given the fact we found him very quickly, I don't really know if I trust his judgment on good hiding spots. As I expected, the hiding spot Banban suggests is fucking awful, having us hide behind a goddamn rock directly in the line of sight of the seeker. But before the round can begin, Syringian enters the hub. Banban seems noticeably nervous and tells us to stay behind the rock as he'll go to talk to him. It appears that everyone in the hub besides Banban is afraid of Syringian, and I'm wanting to know why. Before Banban can talk to him, we see Syringian pick up a blob stating that he'll be taking it. Then Banban arrives to talk to him. We disobey Banban immediately like the alpha male badass we are and peek around the rock to listen in on their conversation. We hear Syringian talking about Banban needing to be replaced and that he stole something from the doctor. He mentions how it won't be much longer until they find out what he did. I'm not totally sure who they is. And the conversation ends with him telling Banban that he can control it, most likely referring to the devil variant we see Banban turn into in the third game. Banban returns and we check in on Banbalina, who looks like she got flashed in a public neighborhood park. She's scared that she may be taken by Syringian next. Banban promises that won't happen as long as he's here, and we're told to go take a nap. And we do just that. I sleep on the daily. I don't know if you knew that about me. We wake up in the middle of the night to Banban at our door. He says he has something to show us. We follow him out into the hub and up to a big red door. Banban says he dropped his keycard to the door like a fucking idiot and tasks us with finding it rather than retracing his steps like a normal person. But too bad for us, the hub is actually dark as fuck. Instead of giving us the flashlight he's holding, Banban instead has us use something a little different as a light source. The little mushroom guy we saw earlier reveals himself. We find out his name is Truffletoot and that he's actually very friendly, which is not what I expected at all. We're told to use Truffletoot as a light source and that if we give him a good squeeze, he'll light up. Ignoring how weird that is, we do exactly that and find the keycard, returning to Banban. We use the keycard to try and open the door, but for plot convenience, the door doesn't open. Banban calls Nab over using a fucking Nab button that he has for some unknown reason, and Nab comes to the door and opens it from the inside. Why the hell didn't we just have Nab do that in the first place? I'll never know, but I think in a game like Garten of Banban, we need to learn to not ask questions that are logical and to just go with the flow, so we do just that and walk down the long hall. We enter a big room with a giant door. Behind that door is what Banban wants to show us. In order for the door to open, 5 people need to stand on 5 large buttons on the ground. Inconvenient, but whatever. Including us, there's only 3 people to stand on the buttons, because Truffletoot isn't heavy enough to weigh a button down. Banban says, "Suck my balls," and tells us it's our problem to find 2 more bodies for the buttons. I don't even want to see what's behind this door, dog. I'm just trying to go back to sleep in this bitch. But whatever. Again, we backtrack to a room we passed previously. With a bit more walking, we stumble into a room that has Bitter Giggle strapped to a table inside. He tells us he needs our help to get him out. Okay, I want you to take a long look at him for a second and realize that this motherfucker does not need any help. There is 1 strap going around his waist and nothing else. This dude could easily slide out of this strap, but no. Instead, let's make it this random stranger's problem, right? F them. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, the room is filling up with a noxious gas that will knock us out at any moment. And also the door locks behind us, so I'm guessing you can figure out what's about to happen.
Now you're stuck in here with me.
Yeah, we have to stop the gas with a stupid and janky minigame that is fun for exactly 0 people on the planet Earth. You nailed it. Bitter Giggle tells us that the monitors on the walls of the room can help turn off the gas. Each monitor is powered off, but you can direct power through them by using a moving panel attached to the ground. What the actual f is happening? I am trying my absolute best to explain how this minigame is played in this script, but I am honestly struggling to find the words necessary. It's reasons like this why I question the logic in these games, because when it doesn't make sense, it makes it incredibly difficult to write about. But once again, whatever. Basically, we have to direct power from one monitor to another. Every other monitor will have a set of 2, with one having a sad face. Pro tip, do not direct power through the sad face monitors. The entire room will fucking explode. How do you choose which monitor the power gets directed to? Well, luckily for us, we can see where the power is trying to go by looking at which wire is currently glowing with electricity. Every few seconds it will switch, so all you really have to do is time it right. But that's not the only bit of timing you have to do for this bullshit. Additionally, you'll be able to see a stationary squiggly line with another moving squiggly line. Again, I'm really struggling to find good vocabulary with this section, please bear with me. You have to push the up button on the power panel as the moving line lines up with the stationary line, and when you do, it will transfer the power through whichever wire is glowing. Sounds pretty simple, except one of the side effects is that timing these fucking lines is the most bullshit I've ever seen in my 20 years of life on this planet. The timing for these lines is so inconsistent. When you press the power button on the panel, it visibly shoots a projectile at the monitor, so that takes some time. So you should press the button just before the lines line up so that when the projectile reaches the monitor, they will be perfectly lined up. But there's something really cool about trying to do this. For each new monitor you transfer power to, you have to move the power panel across the room, which makes sense. But every time the panel moves, it will be a different distance from the desired monitor. So the timing is different for every monitor, and there is a ton of monitors to get through. Well, what happens if you fail a timing? Well, you get a point. The point is marked on the power panel, and when you get 5 points, the room fucking explodes and you have to restart. Holy fucking fuck, I hate this stupid section. It took me a solid 40 minutes to finally finish it. Figuring out the timing seriously made me want to rip a baby deer in half. And the cherry on top, when you fail, you have to listen to Bitter Giggle's stupid fucking cutscene again and again and again. If I have to hear that stupid motherfucker say, "Now you're stuck in here with me," in that stupid fucking whiny ass voice ever again, I'm going to go to a zoo and fist fight every single goddamn animal inside to the death. I am losing my goddamn mind. This game made me want to die. But I'm gonna spare you more details and bring up what happens when you beat it. After getting the power through all the monitors, we can use another panel to shut off the smoke, then we free Bitter Giggle. The door unlocks and Banban comes in and immediately the tone switches. You can tell that Banban is not a huge fan of Bitter Giggle, but he's another body, so he begrudgingly agrees to have him help. Now, you may notice that that's only 4 people, and we still need a 5th. Tell me, what do you think happens next? Do we A, go find Banbalina to help us out, B, find an object heavy enough to hold down the 5th button, C, have a totally random side character from another game appear out of nowhere to help us, or D, feed Truffletoot so much food he gains 100 pounds and is able to weigh down the button? If you assumed it was A or B, aka the answers that would have made sense, you're an idiot. We're playing Garten of Banban and nothing makes sense. If you chose C or D, aka the options that are flat out retarded, then you'd be in the correct mindset for playing this game. The correct answer is C, even though I think it'd be much funnier if it was D. As the dramatic sexual tension between Bitter Giggle and Banban rises, a baby Kittysaurus appears from under a bucket. Despite the fact that Kittysaurus is around the same size as Truffletoot, for some reason she weighs enough to hold down a button, so we choose to use her. Say it with me, everyone. Whatever, I guess. All of us make our way back to the buttons to stand on them, and might I add how fucking slowly everyone moves. It seriously takes a good 2 minutes to stand there and watch everyone get to this room. This is usually the point in the video where I'd make a joke about the brothers padding to hit the 2-hour mark so that people can't refund the game on Steam, but this Garten of Banban game is free, so they actually had no reason to do that. So why the hell are the characters moving like a snail? I don't get it. Before we stand on the buttons, Bitter Giggle pulls us aside and mentions how he's nervous about opening this door, because he says he's heard the scary sounds that come from behind it. We choose to ignore this warning and go to the open door anyways. Banban tells us he'd like us to stand on the button right in the middle of the room so that we can get a front row view of the surprise. And as everybody goes to their buttons, Nab Nab actually wants to speak with us. Nab Nab has never spoken a word before in any of the games, so I was actually excited to hear what he had to say. But unfortunately, he literally says "fuck all." Seriously, he says nothing. There is no audible words spoken, so what was even the point? Anyways, we all stand on our buttons and the big door unevenly opens and we get to see what's inside. Out steps a giant fucking beast of nature that's surprisingly not your mom that the game calls Ramamba, which I think is supposed to be a poor man's toe of Mamba and Ram, because this thing kind of looks like a snake and has ram horns. I don't know. Whatever. Either way, it immediately jumps out at us in an attempt to feast on our juicy ass. But Nab Nab pushes us out of the way to save us and gets eaten in the process. We quickly get up to Bitter Giggle telling us that Kittysaurus went chasing after Ramamba. Despite the fact I fucking hated the kitty boss fight in a previous Banban game, for some reason I've grown attached to it in the 5 minutes of screen time it's had thus far in this game. We chase after Kitty with Bitter Giggle right behind us, passing the presumably lifeless corpse of Banban as we go. We chase Ramamba out into the hub and find Kitty. Ramamba snakes down the wall of the hub and eats the out of Bitter Giggle and Kitty, and that's when Banban shouts back to us. We run over to Banban, indifferent to the fact he survived, and see that Truffletoot is okay as well. As we make it back to Banban and Truffletoot, the floor fucking falls beneath us for some reason, and we proceed to fall several hundred feet into the earth, landing on a rock, and yet somehow all three of us survive. Seeing 2 directions to go in, Banban decides we should split up. So we grab Truffle Tits and go one way while Banban goes the other. But we're not allowed to be alone for long because soon after, Ramamba strikes back and the chase is on. Chasing us through the narrow cave, we get cornered. Fuck. But then coming back to save the day is Banban, except he's in his edgy devil form. Look out, Mom. You can't control the darkness and the beast inside. Ramamba tries to eat us, but Banban holds his mouth open as we plow through the earth until we erupt back to the surface of the hub. Banban goes absolutely sicko mode, and the fight between Banban and Ramamba commences. Punch for punch, blow for blow, stroke for stroke, jerk for jerk. The fight ends, and with cum spewing out of Ramamba's mouth, Banban prevails victorious, and all of the friends we made that were eaten fly out of his mouth. In all honesty, this fight scene, while a little awkward looking, was actually pretty cool. I really liked it. Fun to watch. After finding Banban, he weirdly asks us to play hide and seek again, claiming that 17 is the seeker. Not knowing who exactly 17 is, we follow Banban again to another hiding spot. Going through the door Syringian came out of, we find a whiteboard with Banban drawn on it, with 4 ticks under a repurpose box and 1 under a persist box. But staying on track, we continue to follow Banban, who takes us to a closet. Banban says that nobody will look for us here and that when the game is over, he'll come back to let us out. The closet door closes and Garten of Banban 0 comes to a close as well. And that's all Garten of Banban 0 has to offer. This game came out of nowhere, and it was honestly a very pleasant surprise. I used to hate the Garten of Banban games. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that the first ever video I made was dogging all over the first game. But as I've played the others and I've watched the game lean into a more goofy fantasy type story, I've started to like it more and more, and this game is no different. But I want to hear what you guys think. What do you think is going on with Banban? I know I personally have my theories. I think that we play as the blue Banban in this game that's looking to be the mascot for the upcoming 8th game. My reason for thinking this is that Banbalina mentions how we look like another Banban when we first meet her, and of course the whiteboard we see before entering the closet, with Syringian clearly playing a major role in the Banban experiment and him attacking us after removing the Banban sticker from the wall at the end of the 7th game. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the case, but let me know what you think in the comments below. The question of the video is, are you excited for Garten of Banban 8 and why? With the question of the video being asked, I've been Dexter, and I'll see you all in the next video. See ya!